Welcome to another review episode of Just One More Fix. This is James. With me in this episode is Kurt, Lee, and Lacey.
Hey.
Hello. Hello.
You can find us online at justonemorefix.com or on Twitter at justonemorefix. If you like us, head over to iTunes or to Google Play and give us a rating and a comment. In this episode, we're going to review All Flesh Must Be Eaten. And now, it's time to get our review fix. Welcome to Just More Fix. Today we're going to review All Flesh Must Be Eaten. So All Flesh is produced by Eden Studios, and it came out in
Book form.
It's like 1999. This has been out for a minute.
This is so old.
I know, dang. So it says copyright 1999 to 2009, Eden Studios. So All Flesh is produced by Eden Studios, which you just said. And
it's available for about $30.
Right.
Pretty reasonable as far as I'm concerned.
I agree. If you're obviously the premise of the game, where's our review sheet?
I don't know. What are we doing right now?
Oh, I'm scared.
Usually you say how many pages is in the
I'm working on it there.
No mechanic.
Putting out sheets of paper. Mine eventually.
It is available in PDF, I believe, and it is. All right, so All Flesh, I believe, is available in PDF through Drive-Thru RPG, and it might be available through the Eden Studios website. But the physical book is a hardback book, and it has about 250 pages. The cover is
It's a color hardcover.
Yeah, it's a full color hardcover. The content of the book is all black and white. There's a lot of black and white artwork in it. And the binding is pretty nice. We've had this one for quite a while. Beat it up like we do most of our books, and it held up pretty nicely. I mean, it's a nice quality book. It's got a good production value.
The artwork is mainly zombies. It's okay.
Yeah,
Nothing to write home
it's
about.
mainly zombies because it's All Flesh Must Be Eaten, so it kind of goes with the territory. So the game obviously is about zombie survival horror. I know, surprise, surprise, who'd have guessed? On the cover, you think it'd give it away. It says All Flesh Must Be Eaten. That's a giant zombie holding some fleshy mass above his head, begging for more juice or meat.
Fleshy mass.
It's true.
In context.
If you want to play like your Walking Dead style game, if you want to play
Night of the Living Dead.
the 28 Days Later, any of the zombie storylines, whether they're fast zombies, slow zombies, smart zombies, stupid zombies, this game will accommodate you. It has rules in the back to make any kind of zombie you want. If you want zombie lords, if you want necromancers that control the zombies, it has every kind of zombie flavor that you could want. I feel like Cheech Martin on the front steps of the bar in Dusk Till Dawn right now.
Or maybe
Flesh
Bubba
zombies.
On Forrest Gump.
Yeah,
but shrimp gumbo.
I like my analogy better. Thanks.
I prefer this one.
I think it's worth noting too. We're reviewing the main book, but it has a lot of different expansion books that are pretty cool, and they're very thematic. So you have Enter the Zombie, Band of Zombies, Pulp Zombies, Fistful of Zombies. And they're all very thematic and kind of fun.
Zombie Smackdown.
Would it be accurate to say there's a lot of zombie flavors?
Yes, there is. So and all those are pretty clear in what kind of zombie genre they go into. Are there be zombies? Is pirate zombies? Zombie Smackdown, wrestling zombies. And they're all very fun. And this is great about it is they don't take themselves too seriously about it. They're great. They're funny. They embrace the genre very well. Okay, so for those of you that heard in the past, we reviewed Conspiracy X, and it uses the Unisystem, which is the same as what it is for All Flesh Must Be Eaten.
And it's produced by the same people.
Yes,
Yay,
same game. So if you know Conspiracy X, in the frame of power level of the game, All Flesh is the lowest, then is Conspiracy X is a little bit more, your character's a little more powerful, a little more competent, followed by Witchcraft, and then the last one is Armageddon. So the mechanics work largely the same. You use a D10, and you add your attribute plus your skill when you roll to make a challenge, and you're rolling against a target number. And the amount you succeed by is the how well you do, the degree of your success or the degree of your failure. And that is fundamentally the basis of the entire system. You use some of your other polyhedrals for 10 and down, 8, 6, and 4 for damage dice for depending on what your weapon is and that kind of stuff. But really, that's the long and short of it. The character creation is done by point buy, so you have so many points to spend on skills and attributes and that kind of stuff. So out the gate, all the characters are pretty evenly matched. You don't have one person who rolls 6 18s miraculously and one person who rolls, all 10s. That's always a bummer. But
there is a set skill list.
Yeah.
Similar to the Connex, but it's
a little more streamlined.
Concise.
Yeah, it's a little more streamlined because you don't have as many technical skills like you do in Connex. You don't need so many scientists and that kind of stuff.
You don't get the same background pool either. So it's definitely a lot faster in character creation than that is. So it's designed because, you're fairly low power level. It's a zombie apocalypse. Your character may die. So character creation is quick
should be
and concise.
fast, right? I think Lacey already, you obviously said, the power level is a step down from Connex, so that along with that step down in power is more lethality. So the nice thing is like you said, it's easy to make characters because your characters are kind of fragile and they're going to die in this. It's not to say that it's not super easy to kill the characters, but like it's built into it that when the horde of zombies, like one zombie is not hard. 30 zombies is very hard.
I think it probably also just depends on your storytelling style about what sort of thing you're doing here. I mean, in all reality, like Walking Dead, there's a lot of characters that die, but there's a lot of characters that survive. Live.
I agree. Yeah. No, but I guess like at a base mechanical level, it's easy to survive a couple zombies attacking you. It's kind of hard to survive 30s. It's not like they're goblins like in a D&D game where you just lay waste to 30 goblins. If you're 30 zombies, you're probably going down. It's not good.
It could be, but in most zombie stories, it ends up being the other characters that kill the main characters more often than it does the zombies.
Well, that's the premise of The Walking Dead is that they're the ones that are the Walking Dead, not the walkers. And they kind of play on that a little bit. They talk about, in the Game Master chapter about how to run a zombie game and keep it interesting and making it not necessarily about the zombies, but about the characters themselves.
Yeah, and that's the thing I've wondered about with this, because I've played this, but I haven't played it long term. Mm-hmm. It's like a horror game. How do you keep it horrible once we get inured to the horror? You know what I'm talking about?
I totally agree, because
once your character continues to live in a very annoying way, how do you still make your story interesting?
Right. Well, that's part of the problem with the zombie genre, I guess you might say, is that once it loses its horror when you continue to live and live and live and live and live. I don't know the right answer to that. Maybe you continue the horror by continuing to emphasize what the characters lost in their previous lives before the zombie apocalypse, through like drama and social tension that way. You could also do it by showing them how society is broken by having, like the bad people that, steal and take everything from you and that kind of thing. The only problem is there are only so many times that you can do that before it does get kind of old.
So does this game have a mechanic to support that, or is this more looking at the short-term murder and mayhem hack and slash sort of zombie?
I really think it depends on the strength of your game master, to be honest, because if you're a strong game master and you enjoy the zombie genre and you like stories like The Walking Dead and you kind of know how those stories are built and how to keep them compelling, I think you can run a long-term game with this. But the problem is that I feel like as a player, when you sit down to play this, you want that sort of, that punch, that bang that is the zombie movie, not the zombie drama series. Because there's a big difference in the two.
System in and of itself is flexible as far as that goes.
Yeah, I think the game itself will support either style of play, but I do think that I guess it's the best distinction is to say the difference between a movie like 28 Days Later, which is a zombie horror, and I would almost say that Walking Dead is almost like a zombie drama now. Do you know what I'm saying?
So let me ask, and I don't even remember, and I said the couple times that we played this, I don't clearly recall everything that we did with us. So, I mean, is there like a sanity sort of thing that I'm forgetting?
So you have life points and you have essence pool.
That's what I'm thinking
and certain things can drain your essence pool, but it's not the same as like a sanity like in a Call of Cthulhu or Trail of Cthulhu kind of game. It works a little differently than that. So you're not going to go crazy per se by seeing certain things, but that could very easily be incorporated. If you wanted to make that an aspect of it, you could very easily make your essence function in that role. It sort of slides right into it.
It also sort of represents like mental exertion, fatigue,
willpower.
So you could like potentially a large amount of time without sleep could impact your essence pool.
Right, and
mentally exerting tasks can affect your essence pool.
The other thing that essence is there for is if you want to have like psychics or miracle workers like they have in a lot of the zombie stories, it supports that, and that's what it's there for. Now, you don't have to incorporate that, but it is an aspect of it where you spend essence points to activate your powers, essentially. And those are bought through character creation, so when you choose to make a character, you have like a gifted character or a non-gifted character. And playing a gifted character, it's expensive. Like, your skills that you are really hamstrung. So, like, it does come...
Those powers are wicked.
They are pretty good, but you are, at a mundane level, you are so much less competent than all the other characters. You're almost like, not to say that you're a complete savant, but you are very definitely limited in what you're capable of punching your way out of, we'll say.
So is that a criticism? Like, it's the old classic first edition D&D wizard problem, and you get hit once and now you're dead.
Well, it doesn't have to do with your hit points, because it's based on the premise that everybody physically is very... I mean, if you spend your attribute points and you don't try to make yourself a weakling, you're going to have a good amount of life points. But it's just in that you're specialized in what you do, sort of skill-wise and ability-wise. Not necessarily that you just, you're going to get hit with a stiff left from a kobold and be knocked unconscious like a wizard is.
And it's not comparable to that either, because the skills that you're getting in trade-off are not like your, level 0, level 1 mage spells. You're talking about trading in your other skills for something that is significantly powerful.
Yeah, it gives you a lot of agency in the world.
Carry mode down 35 zombies with one roll.
Yeah. So it's
just set them on fire.
Yeah.
Significant.
Yeah, but at the same time,
I didn't know it could do that.
You don't have to have it in there. It's something that you could very easily leave out of the game if you don't want to have any kind of, magical powers in your zombie game. So the other thing that's nice is, like we said before, it supports any kind of zombie story. So it could have supernatural zombies or mundane infection style zombies. So it does that both ways. And I think that pretty much covers the fundamentals of the world and the game. There is no, it's kind of an implied setting in that it takes place in the real world, which is something that I like for it, because it's very cool to just get regular maps of towns and pictures of actual locations and be like, all right, we're in the city of Danville or Terre Haute or wherever, and zombies attack, and you're at, wherever, like you're at the Walmart. Boop, here's your city map.
Why do I see that as possible?
Well, I actually saw, I don't know who did it. It was a fan-made adventure, and it was for St. Louis, and they had all kinds of pictures of the mall. So, like, they went through with their phone or whatever in camera. Like, this is the picture going up the escalators to, and they had encounters laid out, and it was really, really cool. Well, that was a really great fan-made supplement. But it's very easy to do. You could, if you need any kind of crazy location, every town that you're in has that weird, spooky, creepy place with the urban legend about whatever, and you could very easily just go out there and take pictures and hopefully don't get kidnapped by whatever hook-handed monsters out there.
We're not encouraging you
to
trespass on private property and take pictures of dangerous, unsafe, and creepy buildings. I'm not saying you shouldn't do those things either, but we're definitely not encouraging it.
Right. There's also lots of pictures on the internet you could use. I mean,
that's even better.
It's really cool, though, because it does just use the real world, so you don't have to invent some crazy thing. There's all kinds of crazy stuff already out there. So as far as game resources and game aids, they're already there. It does, speaking of game aids and stuff, it does have a storyteller screen that is pretty good. I like the way it's laid out. So the game itself it's really pretty laid out pretty concisely. There's a lot of choices, but it's a lot less than what we talked about in Conspiracy X. So it's kind of pared down and streamlined because the power level is less, and that makes the character creation faster.
So brass tacks. We sit down with this thing for the first time, between cracking the books and rolling the first dice. About how long to set up and get ready to run?
To make characters, unless you make a character that
10 minutes or
is like, sometimes the characters that use the psychic characters that have some of these powers, they can take a little bit longer because you have to kind of funnel through the powers. But when you know that the skill system is based off of real world, it makes buying skills very, very simple.
But there are merits and flaws, and for that you always have to pass
the book. Yeah. But I would say, as long as you're, moving forward, and if you have, a lot of this is dictated by how many copies of the book you have, but with PDFs and that kind of stuff, it makes it a lot easier. But the average character would probably take 10 minutes, I would say. So it's not bad. You're off to the running, pretty quickly. It's not something that you have to have a full session to build characters just to play the game. So we've all kind of played this game, or, some of us have ran it. What do you guys think that this game does well?
I like the fact that it's up and running quickly for what it is.
Right.
If I remember that about character creation, that it was relatively expeditious. I remember that the skill system wasn't particularly, in the task system, wasn't hard.
Right.
Which is what I want for an action game. I don't want to sit around 3E style and follow the flight of every arrow as it goes through the air for 15 minutes.
Yeah.
I would agree for what it's doing. I mean, you're playing in a zombie horror world, and the kind of zombie horror I want to play is the crunchy, man versus zombie horde. You're probably going to lose kind of game, and it does that nicely because character creation is quick and easy. The actual mechanic for combat, you don't get incredibly bogged down in it, so that it moves fairly quickly. And your power level is low enough that there is a high fatality rate.
And there's plenty of, shall we say, archetypes and and template and tropes in the book where you don't have to sit down and figure it out if you don't want to. You can go, oh, look, gas station attendant. This is the template.
Yeah, they do sell a couple books that have pre-made characters in it, and there's some in the main book as well that are just pre-made characters. You just spit it out or print it out, and then you might have 5 extra skill points to spend them wherever you want, but they're already all spelled out. What about you, Lee? What do you think this game does? I know you've ran it several times, so
I found it to be a little crunchier, and it has a table for how well you roll on the attack, multiplies damage.
Yeah, it is very lethal. Like that is very much true. Like if you roll like an exceptional success, you might be multiplying your damage by 2, 3, 4 times. So it can be very deadly, very quick, which is what I'm looking for in a zombie game. So,
and if you don't want to be able to kill your characters, give them armor.
Yeah, armor's pretty effective. It works well. I agree with that.
Which makes sense thematically, really.
Yeah. When you think, like they have somebody who's got, they take a good shellacking,
It's always our biggest comment on The Walking Dead when watching it. Like, really, all this stuff laying around, nobody thought, let's make a little bit of armor. Maybe that would be helpful.
Yeah, they did it in the 12th century. How hard can it be, right?
Yeah.
So,
hey, they couldn't bite through chain. Maybe I should wear that on my arms.
Right. So, I think this game does this genre very well. Like, it's very purpose-built for it. I like it a lot for the zombie apocalypse. I also think that it works well for any kind of apocalypse game where you want to be playing like an end-of-the-world scenario with regular people. I think you could just remove the zombies and have, a regular Mad Max-style game. I think it would support that as well. Yeah, I like it. I think, it's like one of the only games that I've seen. There's a couple undead games. This is one of the first one that came out, and it's so great. It's so evocative the way they've done with the splat books, if you want to call them that they have for different eras. Like they have Band of Zombies, just like zombies in World War II. So, and I've got that one. It's fun. Like it's Nazi zombies. I mean, what's better than killing Nazi zombies, right? So, I mean,
because we know that trying to assassinate Hitler is difficult.
Right? Yeah, we've done it once. We did it one time.
Yeah.
Yes, we killed Hitler finally. Yeah. So for all those of you who track us online, we finally killed Hitler with the poison gas. It was great. So
who would you say that who is not going to enjoy this game?
Well, I think one thing to touch on real quick that Lee mentioned, the amount of crunch. It does have more crunch than a lot of the story games we review, but it isn't anywhere near like a 3E or a 5E or a Hackmaster or Burning Wheel. It's pretty streamlined, but still it's more crunch than Fate Core.
What's that? Well, that's not hard.
Well, no, but like in that you're only like the resolution mechanic is essentially one style of roll. You know what I mean? Like it's very clean, it's very streamlined, it's very simple. The combat is fast, action packed, and deadly. So it's like it keeps you on your seat. So just as far as the crunch goes, it's I don't know, moderate crunch. If that makes sense. It's like your life's cereal after it's been in the bowl for like 5 minutes, not 10 minutes.
Not exactly peanut brittle, but it's more like trail mix.
All right, it's not definitely not caramel.
Okay.
Or pralines for those of you that. So
it's also known as pralines.
Yeah, whatever. So.
I call them pecans.
So, who do you think this game is made for? Who do you think this game appeals to? Or who would be good for?
Good, decent people?
All the good people of the world.
Well, people who want to play zombie games that are going to move more quickly and aren't quite so focused on character survival. Is that fair to say?
Yeah. Do you think this is for like a good entry-level RPG to introduce people to gaming with? Because like with the popularity of Walking Dead, I feel like everybody knows the tropes of the zombie story so well because it's been on for 7 seasons now, something like that, And I feel like it's the zombies. One of the things that's cool about the zombies, it's like one of the first like modern myths that we have that's like strictly from the more modern era, like for monsters and creatures, and it's very cool because of that. So I like everybody knows it so well and loves it and embraces it in a lot of ways. I think it's easy to introduce
everyone.
Well, I think if you have someone you want to introduce a game to that maybe they don't know all the fantasy tropes and they're not comfortable with that, or maybe they don't know all the sci-fi tropes and they're not comfortable, but they surely probably know, hey, this is what a mall looks like, and we know zombies.
Okay, so my first concern is, why are you hanging around with these people who don't know? But that's okay, assuming that you're trying to expand your group.
Right.
Is this a game for zombies?
I guess it is a game for zombies. But like, do you think this would be good to introduce someone to RPGs?
Yes.
I think it would be okay for that. What I love this game for is what we typically do with it. So let's say maybe you have some people in your gaming group that aren't there all the time. You guys are suddenly all together. Nobody has characters made for the exact same game. You want something that you can play tonight, you can have fun with, you can play it for a couple of hours, or you can play it for 8 hours and just see how long it takes to kill everyone. So it's character creation is quick, it's easy. It seems to me, I haven't GM'd it myself, but it seems to me that it's fairly easy to GM for a larger group of people.
Yeah, that is true.
Which is a nice aspect for it. So
I just had an epiphany. It is a game where everyone fully embraces TPK.
Word.
That might be the only one because
no, Dread.
Well, that's not all at one time, though. Do you know?
No, but even the teenagers, like when I introduced brand new role players I use Craig Moser's The Dead one, which is even simpler. There's less crunch than anything else. But yeah, they know the tropes. They expect to die as characters, and they embrace it.
Right.
You're right.
There's a certain amount of fun that comes at the role-playing table with knowing that your character might die.
Oh,
it kind of gives you license to be a little bit more
ridiculous.
Ridiculous, yeah, exactly.
Yeah, drive it like a rental. Kurt is motioning to me as my normal line for a lot of things. So yeah, like I tell you to drive your NPCs like rentals. Well, drive your PCs like rentals with this thing.
That's what I like it for.
Right on. I like this game a lot. So, what do we think that this game doesn't do well, or where does it fall short, and who is it not for?
We did have a long-running game, which Lee ran, and I do like Lee's games, but I came into it expecting an all-flesh game where I would die quickly, and my character did not die quickly. And I made a character that I got very quickly...
forced to develop it.
I made a character that I got very quickly sick of.
I can't die.
I would say you can run a longer-running game with this, but I think you need to make sure that the expectation is set out of the gate that is going to be what's happening.
Right, I agree with every mention. If you set the expectation, this is not a one-shot or a 2-3 session, hey, you're going to get in there, die a couple times, and we'll move on. You definitely need to lay that out because those are two totally different games. The difference between 28 Days Later and Season 7 of Walking Dead are about as far apart as, like, I don't know, Lord of the Rings and James Bond. Do you know what I mean? They're very far apart, so I agree with that very much. And do you think, like, any other critiques of it or things where you think it falls short?
I would love to see a more robust, mental attribute thing. If you're going to do a long-term thing, you really need to spiral down with the derangements and the sanity and the humanity and all that jazz.
So I think you could easily mod that yourself to kind of change that. But I also think that in a way the zombie tropes of that, unless you're talking the zombie drama where you have this decline of sanity, most of the zombie movies like Night of the Living Dead and 28 Days Later. They sort of try to gloss over that. Once you've killed your third zombie, you're like, whatever, they're just zombies. Do you know what I mean? It's not actually Larry, it's zombie Larry. So, huge difference in the movie world, I know. So,
just for me, just in general, I think there are probably better systems if you want to run a longer running game. What this system really does well is the shorter one shot or just shorter 3 or 4 session.
I agree.
Zombie horde games.
That's where I was going to kind of come down on this. Is that I think it's great for a one shot. It's like perfect for it. If you want to run a short term game, I think it supports it easily. If you want to run a moderate length game, I think where you're looking like 6 to 10 sessions, I think it'll support that. If you really work at it and you pay attention to your players and what they're looking for and manage their expectations and what they want out of the game. But longer term play, I suppose it could be done, but it would be very, very hard. And I don't think I could do it. So
from the GM specific perspective, both of you, any critiques, criticisms, or things that you really love about the system?
Because it's a game that's designed to get off the ground and to kill PCs, don't give your PCs armor. I think I said that.
Right. I like it because it is deadly and the combat is fast and furious. One of my biggest criticisms for a lot of games where it's supposed to be an action-packed game is that when we go to do a combat and it takes an hour to take up 10 seconds of combat, it just kills the mood. I want my combat to be fast, deadly, furious, bloody. I want to get in there and really
zombie heads everywhere.
Yeah, put a hurting on players or have them put the hurting on the zombie horde, whichever the way that this counter is designed. And this does that very well. It's streamlined. The mechanics are simple. You can explain it in a couple minutes and people understand. They tell you what they rolled. You're good to go. It's not some big, huge, crunchy mess to get caught up in. With that said, if you are looking for a game that has a lot more crunch and that kind of stuff, this is, like I said, moderate crunch, So this may not be the game for you if that's what you're looking for. So I think that about covers it, really. I think, is there anything else you guys have to say about All Flesh?
Nope.
Right on. So All Flesh Must Be Eaten. Lots of supplements out there. Lots of good stuff for it from Eden Studios. We'll link it in the show notes. We like this game, yes or no?
I like it a lot.
Yes.
It's excellent.
Right on. All Flesh. Go check it out.
Thanks for listening. This has been another episode of Just One More Fix.